Hey guys, welcome back to 22 Lima Romeo, where we focus on the competitive side of the rimfire world. We are back out here at the range today, although things may look a little different from previous videos. We are not actually at the rifle range yet. And the reason why is because this is a absolutely beautiful area of northern Colorado, as you guys can see here. It is breathtaking, the views that we get. So we're gonna get loaded up in the truck. We're gonna drive on down to the rifle range, and we're gonna take you guys with us via drone. Well, we made it safely to the rifle range. I have a feeling that what you're really here for is the NRL monthly Course of Fire, which we will get to here momentarily. Do me a favor though, before we get started, reach down there and tap that like button on the video if this is your first time here and you enjoy this content at the end of the video. Please consider subscribing. It really does help. The channel just crossed a huge milestone. When we launched this channel, I had no idea that it would grow this much. So I would like to take a moment to thank all you guys who have made this possible, who come back month after month and tune in to see how we plan to shoot the NRL monthly Courses of Fire. All right, enough yakking. Let's get out there and shoot some steel.
First up, we have rolling around the tires. We have a 2.5 at 84 yards. We're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, engage the targets with 2 shots from each position in the following order: left side of the flat tire, right side of the flat tire, top of the vertical tire, back half of the flat tire, then through the center of the vertical tire. Note, the flat tire will be divided into 3 sections: left, right, and back area. The vertical tire should be secured as best as possible to prevent any tipping. Restrictions: no bipods.
Ready?
Ready.
Stand by. Engage.
Alright guys, it is time to roll around with the tires. For my gear on this stage, I'll be using the Armageddon Gear Medium and Heavy Fill, and the Wee Bad Shrapnel's Behemoth. Just bags for this one. I'm going to be running my optic at about 12 power. For my strategy, I wanted to make sure that my body stayed in positions where it was going to make for fast transitions. I didn't want to go prone on the flat tire, because going out into a prone position means I got to get back out of the prone, and that burns precious seconds. So what I chose to do instead was create a modified prone position using the bags on the tire and keep on my knees so that I could quickly pop up and transition to the next position. As we transition up here to the top of the tire, you can see I still try to maintain that modified prone position, using the Armageddon Gear Medium to support the front end of the rifle on the top of the tire, and using that Wee Bat Shrapnel's Behemoth to support the rear of the rifle tucked in on top of my thigh in that kneeling position. Now as I transition to the back side of the tire, I assume the exact same position that I was in for the first 2 positions of the stage. I stay on my knees, I fold up, kind of doing some shooter's yoga, and I build a modified prone position using that Shrapnel's Behemoth again. Now rounding out the last 2 shots for the stage, I decide to finish out with an actual prone position. Still the same thing though, Armageddon Gear Medium to support the front of the rifle, and the Wee Bad Shrapnel's Behemoth to support the back. That was a good way to start this month's Course of Fire.
Clean.
Let's get on to stage number 2.
31 seconds left.
Nice.
Next up, we have hopping around. We have a 1.5 at 66 and a 2.5 at 94. We're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, build a position on the 5-gallon bucket and engage the targets far to near with 2 shots each. Then move to the top of the 55-gallon barrel and engage the targets near to far with 2 shots each. Finally, take a position on the center block between the props and engage the targets far to near with 1 shot each. Restrictions: no bipod.
Okay,
Ready?
ready.
Stand by. Engage.
It is time to do a little hopping around. For my gear on the stage, I'll be using the Armageddon Gear Medium and the wee bad strapless Behemoth. Same equipment as last time. I'll be running my scope at about 12 power again. For my strategy on this one, from the 5-gallon bucket, I actually wanted to take a seated position and tuck that strapless Behemoth up underneath the stock of the rifle, again creating a modified prone position. But this time I needed a little more elevation on that bag, so what I want to do is use my foot to set that bag on. I'm setting the Armageddon Gear Medium on its side, and there's a reason for that. When you set that bag on its side, it kind of naturally creates a channel for the stock of your rifle. Now, luckily with this Foundation Centurion, this thing has a big, wide base on the fore end of the stock. So it's cradled very naturally within that little valley of the Armageddon Gear Medium when you set it on its side. That was a trick that I recently learned, and it has proved to be pretty useful. And I feel like sometimes it actually makes my rifle more stable. But the reality is, only time will tell if this is actually more stable or less stable than using the Mini Play Pro.
Touch it again.
Now as we transition here to the center block for these last 2 shots, I'm going to do the same thing that I've done on the other 2 props. I'm going to take the medium, I'm going to lay it on its side, I'm going to lay the stock of the rifle into that nice little channel that thing creates. I'm going to use the wee bad strapless Behemoth as a rear bag and make this as close to supported prone as I can possibly get. That was a good way to start this month's Course of Fire.
Oof, barely cleaned that one.
Let's get on to the next one.
How much?
25.
Okay, so kind of consistent.
Consistent rushiness.
I didn't feel like I was running, you know?
Okay.
Next up, we have stage 3, thinking of the roof. We have a 1-inch at 61 yards, a 1.5 and 2 on a double hanger at 78, and a 2.5 at 92. We're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in, action open. On the start signal, ascend the rooftop and engage the targets in the following order with 1 shot each. Near, middle small, middle large, then far. Middle small, middle large, far. Middle large, far, then near. Note, you may hand your rifle to an RO while ascending and descending the rooftop for safety. Restrictions: no part of the rifle, equipment, or body may touch the ground, nor any rooftop supports.
Ready?
Yep.
Stand by. Engage.
So I guess for this stage, we're thinking about a roof. For my gear on the stage, I'll be using the Armageddon Gear Medium in heavy fill and the wee bad strapless Behemoth. Once again, I'll be running my optic at about 15 power. Now for my strategy on this thing, because we're only shooting from one position on top of this tank trap, we don't even have to get off of this thing once we're up there. I want to really slow down at the beginning and make sure that I'm setting my rifle up to be effortless to operate. I want that thing to be as stable as I can possibly get it because, believe it or not, this target sequence is actually kind of confusing. And I highly recommend when you write your dope card out that you break it out into 3 specific sections, possibly putting a little mark on the dope card to show you that you've made it through a section. I know the first time I tried shooting this, I completely got lost on the last shot and I had no idea where I was. So we reshot this again, and this time I broke it up into the 3 different sections as described in the course description. Now just to help me keep things clear, I decided to go ahead and dial each and every range to make sure that I was keeping track of where I was in my shot sequence. So speaking of dialing, something that this Burris XTR Pro does really well is allow for fast dialing of elevations, and that's thanks to this race turret. That thing allows me to mark, like a whiteboard, each spot for the targets that I'm going to be engaging on a stage. And for buying time and speeding things up, it really is invaluable. That was a fun stage. Let's get on to the next one.
Not the last one.
Yep.
Whoopsie.
22 seconds left.
There was more wind out there than I thought. Well, that explains that.
Next up, the stage that's been causing all the confusion. Go fast, but not too fast. We have a 1 1/4 inch KYL rack at 37 yards, and a 1.5 and 2 on a double hanger at 68. We're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, take a prone position and engage the targets far to near, large to small, with 1 shot each. After 6 shots, transition to weak side and start the sequence all over again, beginning with the far target. Each target sequence is hit to move on. Note, weak side means weak hand, shoulder, and eye. Also, this is the bonus point stage, where you earn 0.1 bonus point per second remaining on the clock.
Ready?
Yep.
Stand by. Engage.
Alright guys, on to the fourth stage, which is our prone and time stage. For my gear, I'll be using the Harris SBR bipod with the Really Right Stuff ARCA adapter, and the Armageddon Gear medium in heavy fill. I'll be running my optic at about 20 power. For my strategy, I'm really just going to pay close attention to my fundamentals on this one. Now for this particular video, I'm shooting Norma TAC-22 subsonic. Now this stuff is hollow point, and I found over the chronograph that it's not super consistent. However, the Voodoo really does just everything and shoot it pretty stinking well. And this wasn't expensive ammo, so let's just hope the loops hold together while we finish this stage out. Now, there was some confusion on the Facebook page about this course description, and I want to kind of dispel any confusion that you may have when watching this video. You're going to shoot a series of 6 shots, and then you're going to transition to support side. Then you'll start back on the far target. The hit to move on part is per sequence. I will say that nobody likes shooting support side. It is difficult. It is clunky. You find that you fumble around a lot with simple tasks that would normally be second nature to you. That is the purpose of making us shoot support side. It's to show us that we do have a weak side and we should always work to improve that so that we're not struggling when we need to shoot with the other shoulder. I'm really a fan of support side shooting. However, I could see where some people aren't really keen on it because if you don't practice enough, like you can see I haven't done here, obviously, then you end up fumbling around and burning precious seconds. Now with any time stage, as I've always said, it's better to slow down and get your impacts than it is to push for those extra points, because one missed shot, you're not going to make up for.
8 seconds left.
Let's get on to the last stage for this month's Course of Fire.
Okay. Well, we got it right that time.
Okay. Good run?
Yeah, it's clean.
Finally, we have stage 5, being organized on the tank trap. We have a 1 inch at 39, a 2 inch at 69, and a 3 inch at 99 yards. We're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in, action open. On the start signal, engage the targets with 1 shot each in the following order. From the center of the tank trap, near to far. Then move to tank trap tip number 1, far to near. Then tank trap tip number 2, near to far. Finally, tank trap tip number 3, far to near again. Note, you may pick any order when using the tank trap tips. Restrictions. A magazine change is required after the first shot and before the 12th shot. If a mag change is not conducted, then the last 2 shots will not count, regardless if they were impacts. If a competitor times out and a mag change has not been conducted, no impacts will be deducted.
Ready?
Yep.
Stand by. Engage.
Wrapping things up, it's time to get organized. For my gear, I'll be using the Grey Ops CNC Mini Plate Pro and the Armageddon Gear medium in heavy fill. I'll be running my optic at about 12 power. Now typically when given the option, I'm always going to take a position on the center of the tank trap first. So the reason why I start on the center is because it allows me to build a kneeling position. From a kneeling position, I can usually become more stable than I can standing. Being stable, taking 3 shots at those targets, it allows me to get a relatively decent wind call, so that way I know where my hold needs to be for the tips. Now as I transition up here to the top of the tank trap, I typically transition from the center to the left, then to the front, then to the right. I always go in kind of a clockwise circle. Now I don't necessarily know why, and I don't necessarily think that it gives me any kind of strategic advantage or anything. That's just my rhythm and how I like to shoot it. You can shoot it however you see fit. There's kind of a universal way to approach the tip of a tank trap, as long as it's about mid-torso high. And that is to bend at the waist, make connection with your support hand to your support bag on the tip of the tank trap, lock your knees out and splay your legs out towards the outside edges of your shoulders and squaring yourself up on your rifle. That is going to give you the most stability by turning yourself into effectively a tripod to shoot off these tank trap tips. It's always worked for me, and it's always worked for everybody else that I've seen do it. I decided to dial for every one of these targets. I did have enough time to do that. However, I would have saved myself a ton of time had I just made the choice to hold over. I think the targets for this stage are generous enough that holdovers would have been super effective. However, hindsight's always 20/20, right?
Clean.
8 seconds left.
Use the runway. All right, guys, well, that is a wrap for the April 2024 NRL22 Course of Fire. Huge shout out to Galen Moore from Crawford County Shooting Sports in Denison, Iowa. That was a fun and challenging course of fire. I really enjoyed shooting it. And if you have a shooting buddy who's showing some interest in NRL22, this would probably be a really good one to bring them out to and let them get their feet wet. I would like to thank you guys for coming along for the ride today. We had a really good time. I hope you did too. If you do me a huge favor, reach down there and smash that like button. Share the video with your shooting buddies. Comment down below if you would like to see some other sort of content. We're still recording. There.
3, 2, 1, engage. Wait. Hold on. Let's restart. We're not doing 3, 2, 1 anymore.
No.
Stand by.
What's going on?
Engage.
Target. Yeah, I beat you. Yep, you did. Watch this. I'm going to hit the target stand now. I get points for that. Damn it. Damn it, bro.
Oh, let's start that over again.
Redo. I'm still leave the other cameras running.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
Stand by. Engage.
Wait. What tip first?
Center first.
Center and then what tip?
Doesn't matter.
I got screwed up. I don't know where I'm at.
I have a feeling that's going to be a problem, especially if you can't call long target on this one.
I typically don't get a whole lot of other comments about other content, but we had a lot of fun shooting today. We shot all kinds of stuff, but we have got to wrap it up and get out of here. We've got a winter storm coming in. So thanks again, guys. We hope to see you out on the range.